What's up, everybody? This is State of the Republic here with Old Glory Red Report, KCJ, Mark Anthony, with our good friend Lucas Cerati. Today we're going to talk about the Republic season so far, where things are going. We're also going to be talking about other world football news. It'll be coming at you right after this.
5, 4, 3, 2.
Perfect. Alright guys, thanks for coming out. State of the Republic, Old Glory Red Report, a channel for the supporters, by the supporters. KCJ, Mark Anthony, our good friend from the Sacramento Republic today, Lucas Cerati. Luca, how you doing, man?
I'm good. What's up, Sac Republic faithful? Thank you so much for having me, Casey.
Good to see you.
It's my guys. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, so we've talked about you coming out before, and we're thankful that you've found some time to come out with us. A lot of people know you at the games, and I see you conversing with fans all the time. So I'm sure a lot of our audience will recognize you. But if you don't know Luca, he's a really good guy to reach out to, especially if you're looking for tickets, season tickets, game tickets. He's the guy that can help you out.
I appreciate that. And I'm humbled to be here. I played soccer with this man over here, Chico State. So we got long lines, deep roots, and both of these guys are avid fans for the club. So love it.
Thanks for coming out. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Chico State days, man.
Go Wildcats.
It's a really good school, undefeated in American football for like 30 years, I believe.
Truth.
Haven't lost. So Luke is obviously a huge Sacramento sports fan, huge Juventus fan, and we'll talk about Juventus later on in this video. There's a lot of buzz with the team. This is like the year to be a fan of Juventus, right?
We'll see.
But anyways, let's talk about Republic. Season so far, we're sitting in fifth. It's a good season. We're only 1 point out of being in the top two. We're still in striking range to actually lead the table. It kind of feels at times that we've had a disappointing run, dropping some points at home, some ups and downs. We had a good Open Cup run.
Incredible.
It's just been I think a very taxing season compared to seasons past because we have such high expectations. So what's your feelings so far through this season? Like, are you pretty content with what we've done so far?
Yeah, I have to give it to Coach Simon. What he's been able to do in no time, transitioning from a very, very different style of football over the last 2 years, and doing it with ease, and really bringing in a new crop of players, a crop of hungry young players that they play beautifully. But you can see that their youth, at times, it gets the better of them, and concentration is something that he works on with the guys every single day. He's a brilliant mind. Just talking with the front office, he stresses the little things. He makes sure everybody within the organization feels really important. He'll be the guy that's out at Papa Murphy's Park. Before a match, he gets his run in, and then he comes and greets us while we're setting up, getting ready for the game. And he doesn't have to do that. He doesn't have to come out and say hello and shake everybody's hand. But he's that guy. And I think that's what you see with the players. They want to play for him. With guys like Emra coming back, he said, I want to come back to play for this guy. It's stuff like that. It's testimonials from the players themselves that shows me that he's got them playing the way he wants to play, and he's humble. One thing that impressed me, I pressed him on it because going from the youth ranks to a professional managerial position. I said, what makes you think that you're going to be able to go into that locker room and demand that respect. And he was his answer was awesome. You know, we all know what he was able to do as a player. You know, assisted the most beautiful goal in New Zealand history against my Italians. But you know, he said not all players can be great coaches, and so I had a lot of work to do, and I've come through the ranks. I understand what's expected of a player, and you know, from there he's you know, he demands the respect. I was so impressed. He makes you want to run through a wall, and he's like super soft spoken. So it's like, you know, it's like the night and day. You know, it's just like
you mentioned it. I mean, it is tough to. Not every good player or great player can be a good coach. I mean, we've seen it with even in other sports where like superstar players, they just aren't able to teach. You know, guys like Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, they've had struggles in basketball. You know, because their talent is, you know, out of this world, and it's hard for them to kind of, you know, resonate with players that are not on their level, right? Casey, what do you think about Elliott so far this year in terms of how the team has played under him in regards to how they played in seasons past?
You know, I think that he's letting the players show their own creativity up top, which has been great, and that's Iwasa's, you know, big point. That's why he's having such a great season. For me, the big thing going into this is you got to remember Elliott came into this season very late. So a lot of these players are good players, but not necessarily his pick. Not necessarily set up for what he wants to do as a coach, maybe. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know what his thoughts are. I'm not him. But going into next season, he's done really well with the players he has. So for me, the big key is going into next season. When he has an opportunity to maybe bring in a couple guys that fill positions that he wants, I think he's going to do fantastic. And this season screams a lot about his quality, being able to do that with players that maybe aren't the players that he necessarily wanted.
Yeah, and you know, with him coming in late in the game, we should say, not knowing that he was going to be a head coach until right before the season started, and the Republic has a lot of turnover this year. There's a lot of new faces. Maybe not all of the guys are necessarily young, but they're new, right? Mm-hmm. So it takes a while to adapt. Luca, do you think that with the new players maybe being a little unfamiliar with each other, do you think that has contributed to maybe some of these home struggles that we've had where we've dropped some points, maybe not losing games? I mean, we did lose to Reno, but drawing these games, maybe not finishing out the games at home where we have seen the team do it before.
Absolutely. You know, I think the main issue from my perspective is concentration. You know, you have a really nice mix of players with guys like Jay Hall playing alongside Jaime. You know, you have this youthful, spirited player mixed with a sage, and you know, they are getting that understanding. You know, and so it's one of those things where it's unfortunate that we're getting ties, but at the same time, just looking at what matters most to the Republic and their fans, it's the playoffs. Playoffs are so important for us, and we showed in the U.S. Open Cup, like you were talking about earlier, when it's 120 minutes, we have the upper hand. The guys were fitter than Seattle Sounders. The substitutions were on point, I have to say. I mean, you have Moffitt and Hall starting that game, and then all of a sudden you put in Jaime Villarreal to just facilitate, and he was dropping dimes left and right in extra time. I mean, Seattle had no answer in the middle. And, you know, as I will say, you win the middle, you win the game. And with the quality that we have in that midfield, mixed with, you know, that free-flowing you know, play up top, you know, at times it doesn't always work, and people get on players like Bijev's, you know, behind about it. But you know, at the same time, hey,
constantly.
But I mean, there's something to be said about giving, you know, the manager giving that lease of life to be creative, to express yourself. And, you know, it's going to start clicking, and we know what guys like Bijev, Wilson, who, you know, he needs to get his form up. And guys like Kevin Aleman, who's going to come back from injury, and I think he could be a starlet.
He was looking fabulous before.
Oh my gosh, that
That
goal
free
against
kick,
Reno was amazing. It was like
one of the goals of the season.
One
for
of the
sure.
goals of the season. I remember.
Arguably the goal of the season.
Yeah.
But definitely up there.
Yeah, so I think it's just a matter of concentration. I think a little bit it has to obviously do with the chemistry, but that's being built, and I think that's a testament to the management. The guys are playing good football.
Yeah, that game that you mentioned, the home game against Seattle in the U.S. Open Cup, that was the most fun that I've had at a game this season.
Yeah,
it was a roller coaster.
And it was a weekday game.
Yeah, it was a roller coaster.
It was cold.
It was cold.
It was unseasonably cold. It was June and I was
really
freezing.
Cold. Yeah.
But man, that atmosphere is electric. And then we give up the lead at the end, and then we come back and we snatch it to win again. But Casey, what Luca was mentioning about Elliott letting the attack, maybe the front three, front four players kind of having more leeway, more independence than they've had under Buckle, for example.
Yeah.
Do you think that has ultimately hurt the team, though, in terms of closing games out at the end? Because we have seen some players mention, at the end of the games, maybe they lose concentration or they're not all communicating on the same page. But do you think that plays maybe into some of the home struggles at all?
Maybe a little bit, but honestly, I think Lucas said it earlier, it's mentality.
Mm-hmm.
And we've seen this since the start of the season. It hasn't just been a brand new thing that's popped up. In the beginning of the season, we couldn't start games.
Yep.
We came out slow, sluggish. We weren't into the game. It took us the second half to get in it. True. Now, all of a sudden, it seems like we're flopping this mentality. Yeah. Now we're coming out in the first half, rip-roaring, ready to go. Then the second half, we come out a goal ahead, and we sit on it acting like we don't know what to do in this situation anymore.
Yeah.
In the first half of the season, we were coming back in the second half and getting 2 goals to win the game. Mm-hmm. Now we can't even defend a goal. So I think, honestly, it's just mentality. There might be a little communication mix-up there, but it's got to be player mentality. You got to be out there 90 minutes of every game, and you got to be focused, and you got to know the game plan. So maybe a little bit, but emotion.
And, even at the beginning of the season when we had that really strong start to the season, we still, in the back of our minds, even out loud at times, talking about, man, if only we could play a full 90. You know, like we're winning games, we're drawing games, but still it was 60 minutes of good football, 30 minutes of, what are we doing? We're hanging on, right? Yeah. But, that has been a struggle, finding a full, complete 90 at home. I think that we do have a couple good opportunities coming up to put together a couple games where we have just solid games from beginning to end. With that being said, there's a number of players who either we're waiting on them to kind of take the next step, maybe grasp their chance. Yeah. Luca, is there one player or two players at most that you can think of who you feel might be able to take our club to the next level and be a real threat at winning the championship this year? Obviously a guy like Iwasa is not in this conversation because he's doing everything.
Everything he can.
Cohen's playing great.
Yep.
I think Taner's been good in the back. Shannon Gomez always gives a real solid performance. Jeremy Hall is as consistent as a defensive midfielder as there is on the team.
Agreed.
But other than those names, is there somebody out there that you're kind of he's going to be the guy that's going to carry us the second half of the season?
Well, I think it's a couple of guys that are coming back from injury. Yuri and Kevin. I mean, you put those two weapons at Coach Elliott's disposal, and we're gonna fight for some silverware this year.
Yeah.
I think what you're seeing from the midfield is spectacular, and I already touched on what my thoughts were with Jaime and Jay Hall, but Yuri he can cut you up. He can chop you up, and before Kevin got injured, same thing. He when he was on the wing against that Reno in U.S. Open Cup, he was torching them. They didn't know which way he was going to go, and so. With his first goal against San Antonio, this guy showed us some pieces that he warrants that number 10 on his back, and ultimately you need that number 10. Those two are definitely two guys that I think can help us on the goal scoring aspect. We need Schmitty to step up, and Mitch we need to build that chemistry. That OKC goal, Mitch was way out of position. He was all the way out on the wing for some reason, and everybody's shaking their head like, hey, what are you doing out there? So it's that discipline from the back that's going to allow us to go forward and be creative.
Real quick, Casey, your player to watch for a second half of the season. Who do you got?
I liked Alaman as a pick. I think he looked amazing, so I'm going to go with him too, because before he got injured, he was looking like something was going to happen with this guy. That free kick he had in the Open Cup, the goal you guys talked about, he's a playmaker. He was making things happen. I can't wait till he gets back in this squad and really just fires us from that midfield. Like you said, midfield wins the battle. Yeah. If you can get out of the midfield, you can play out of it, you win. So.
Yeah, I hate to sound like a broken record, but Alaman is my pick too, because I think that he provides that attacking flair that can bring guys like Awasa even better service than they've already had. But that he's like that connecting player from the midfield through to the forwards like Bijev, even a guy like Nisha and Mediasic. So that's what I think too. So with that being said, we're 11, 12 games left of the season. Where do we end up? Where do you guys think that we'll end up? I think that we can all agree that we're going to make the playoffs, but where do we fit in? Do you think we'll get first, second, third, fourth, fifth? What do you think, Luca?
Well, I mean, I think what's happened during this break has been fantastic for us. With Reno dropping points at home, that's huge. Yeah. Same with Orange County. These guys, these are the two teams that I am most fearful of. I think we can handle Real Monarchs. We know exactly how they play. We went into their house and we should have gotten 3 points. And they played us at our house, and again, should have got 3 points. Again, but I think where we land is somewhere between second and third, depending on what happens with OKC and Reno.
Yeah. What do you think, Casey?
I'm going to go with third. I think we comfortably land in third too. We've kind of been behind the top two the whole time. I think Real Monarchs and Phoenix are just two really good teams. I think they're going to get first and second, in my opinion. And then I think we'll sit nice and comfortably in third.
Yeah, my goal is I'm kind of not looking at first place. I feel like unless we go on like a really good run, then I'll start thinking about it. But I'm shooting for second. We're 1 point behind second, and we've talked about it before. Second's almost as good as first. I mean, You're on the other side of the bracket. Yeah. You just keep getting home games, and if number one stumbles, you're playing at home all the way to the final. So that's where I fit on that. So that was great. I mean, catching up on the Republic. We're all excited about the rest of the season. All the fans that are watching, come check us out. You'll see Luca. He's always in front. He always has a crowd of people around him. He knows everyone. Everybody from the janitors to the guy selling beers to all the fans. But yeah, say hi to him when you see him. But let's switch it up. Let's talk about your club.
Forza Juve. That's my team, man.
Yeah, let's talk about it. First off, without you going into like a full-on biography, how did they become your team, and how are you feeling now about their prospects moving forward? Well,
so my dad is from Torino, so that's. You pick one or the other. You go for Torino, Granata, the historic team, or you go for the juggernaut Juventus. And what solidified it was 2006, after really the biggest scandal that rocked Italian football, Calciopoli scandal, Juventus being at the forefront in light of other teams match fixing. They got the biggest ban going down to second division, and it was really the players that showed me, okay, this is more than just a club. This is a family. Some players had to go because of financial issues. Some players wanted to go, but there was a core group of players Pavel Nedved, David Trezeguet, Mauro Camoranesi, Gigi Buffon, Del Piero, just to name, a few of the great players of that era. And just imagine, put yourself in the boots of Gigi Buffon winning a World Cup and going to second division Serie B, and
takes a lot.
It takes a lot, and what he said will always ring true with me. A gentleman never leaves his old lady, so la vecchia signora è sempre nel cuore.
Well, man,
that was the brief history. Right?
Yeah.
Juve is a team that I've always respected. The Serie A, I used to watch more in the past. I think lately it's maybe fallen a little bit behind some of the other leagues in terms of excitement, but it's one of the best leagues in the world. And now, with the addition of Ronaldo, obviously I'm a big fan. I'm all aboard the train, where's my jersey? I think it might be in the mail. I can't wait. I'm going to watch as many games as I can. He might be the missing link. He has been a guy that's been the thorn in the side for their Champions League prospects. So,
yes.
What do you think? You lost Buffon, but you got Ronaldo. There's other players that are in or out. But looking forward, I know that you guys are on a historic run of titles in a row in the Italian league right now.
Yeah.
So, obviously the expectation is to win the league again.
Yeah.
But what do you think with the additions? Do you think that you will win Champions League this year, or do you think that you're in a better spot than you were maybe last year or the year before?
Well, I don't want to get ahead of myself because, Cristiano Ronaldo is, we all know what he's capable of. There's no need to go into how incredible the greatest player of our generation is. It's simple as that. But what concerns me a little bit is the back line. You have Szczesny as your keeper. Mm-hmm. We just brought in Perin. Perin is good, but he's not Buffon. And so that's going to be an interesting one to look at.
Yeah.
The other thing, just recently, even today, we just had a swap with Caldara to Milan for Leo Bonucci. So familiar face for a lot of Juventini, but everybody last year was pretty hard done by the fact that he went to our biggest rival. So coming back after a year is kind of hard to do. It'll be interesting to see what he does to make it up to the fans. Needless to say, having the BBC, Bonucci, Barzagli, Chiellini back, mixed with Alexandro and João Cancelo, these guys are that back line's gonna be fantastic. So it's gonna be a huge run. We're going for the triple, and
why not?
Why not?
Why not? You always, a fan of a club like that, you always believe it can happen.
Always.
You add Ronaldo, even at 33 years old, he still has a lot of juice in him, so he might be able to push him over the top. Casey, what do you think? I know that you don't really, care for the Serie A too much, but what do you think about Champions League? I know you're a Liverpool fan. Are you worried about possibly matching up with them?
Yeah, with the additions they've made that you talked about, especially with Ronaldo coming in, and they've got some other key players like Quadrado and a couple of really good guys in their lineup.
Douglas Costa.
Costa.
Mm-hmm.
So they're always a worry. They've always been a worry, to be honest with you. When you play Champions League, you don't want to come up against Juventus. It's like coming up against Bayern Munich.
Sure.
You know you're going to have a tough game. So, we hope we don't come up against them because we want to, win the league this time, win the Champions League this time.
Yeah, absolutely. That's. I think that their prospects are probably, as you could say, there's a couple teams, maybe 3 or 4 in the world right now. They're all looking like we're the team that's going to win next year's Champions League. And if you don't put Juventus in there, I don't think you're paying attention, honestly.
No.
It's them. I think Barcelona's going to come back strong.
Yeah.
Man City could, obviously they bowed out earlier than they would have liked last year,
Thanks
but
to Liverpool.
and Liverpool's a threat too.
That was a great.
I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Yeah,
Liverpool is more of a tournament team than they are a league team, so they're a threat. Absolutely. Yeah. Other teams have can have a stake in this too, but moving on, I want to talk to you a little bit about just trying to wrap this up. MLS expansion. As Republic fans, as someone who works for the organization, we've had our ups and downs, a lot more downs lately. In terms of your feelings on it, has anything changed for you? Are you still optimistic at this point?
Absolutely.
Is that how the feeling is around the club?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be as candid as possible. I mean, it was tough. It was tough being there in December. The air was a lot thicker, and being with the club for as long as I have, seeing a lot of other teams get the announcements. At the beginning, we were very optimistic with the likes of Minnesota trying to get into Minnesota's position and things like that. But it's the Nashville was definitely a bombshell for myself personally, and then the domino effect of FC Cincinnati. I think what's great about what we're doing right now is we have the space and opportunity to create our culture.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't envy FC Cincinnati's position, and I might be unpopular in saying that, but they have to go from 0 to 1,000 in 8 months, and if they don't do a very good job at transitioning, it's not going to look well. It's not going to look very good for their fan base. It's not going to, their prices are going to go up for tickets, and the product on the field is not going to be as competitive, because you look at what Atlanta's putting out there, and you look at what.
It's great.
Yeah,
it's been great for the league.
It's been great for the league, and
they set that bar really high.
They
you can't expect every club coming in to be there.
70,000 fans, almost every game. It's crazy.
But my point being, Atlanta had the time and space to sculpture this.
There's also a building ready for them to walk into.
Exactly, and what I see Cincinnati mirroring is Minnesota.
More Minnesota, absolutely.
And we all know how that started out with a thrashing against Atlanta at home in the snow.
Yeah, I remember
amongst their fans. So what I think we have a team that's ready, and the organization is on point. Don't sleep on us. We're putting in the work time and time again, trying to fill the building at Papa Murphy's Park as rabid as it possibly can be. We want to build new traditions. We want you guys to be a part of that. We want you guys to take the leading role in that. And that's what's going to build our soccer culture in Sacramento. And so it's not it really it sounds cliche at this point, but it's not if, it's when. And when it happens, we're going to be the rubber's going to go right into the asphalt, and we're going to be flying. So I expect us to mirror that Atlanta more than what Cincinnati or Nashville is going to do.
All right, guys. Well, we covered a lot of different topics today. Special thanks to our buddy Luca. Luca, again, appreciate your time, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Really good guy. Like I mentioned before, if you need tickets, he's always available. Email, phone call. You can call in the Republic office, ask for Luca. He'll definitely help you out. You have kids, he'll hook you guys up. So again, thank you for your time. Absolutely. Love talking to you. We'd love to have you on again.
Appreciate it.
Casey, you got any last thoughts for us?
Yeah, make sure to go to all the Facebooks, subscribe if you haven't, and hit the notification button. Head over to the Sacramento website, get your season tickets for next season if you haven't. Some great deals going on. I know they're giving calls around right now to previous ticket holders for renewing, so make sure to do that. August 4th is the cutoff for the good deal, right?
Yep, for the good deal.
So it's coming up, so do that.
You can still get deals after that, though. Yeah. You can still hit up Luca. He's going to hook you up. He's going to make it worth your time. I guarantee it. In terms of Republic fans, in addition to getting those tickets, if you have not subscribed yet, hit the button below.
Right down there.
We're always trying to find new supporters or supporters of the club who just have not seen our content. So if you want to share it, that'd be great. But again, thank you to all of our fans. Thank you to all the Republic fans for joining us today. And we'll see you guys later.
Later.